That's right. You're supposed to be surrendered to God and God's will. And most of the Bible is written trying to tell us how to live that kind of life, which is why Solomon could, at the end of his life, look back at, and he lists his accomplishments in Ecclesiastes. He said, I set out to be rich. I was richer than you can imagine. I set out to have this. I had it. I had crops. I had fields. I had horses. I had everything that the eye could behold. If I saw it and wanted it, it was mine. And I will tell you, I've lived long enough to know it was meaningless. Vanity. That's the first definition of vanity, and that's one that's our dual vanities today. The second definition is arrogance, pride. You're a vain person. If you're a vain person, it doesn't mean you're meaningless. It means you're conceited. You're arrogant. You lift yourself up above others. Those are the two vanities. And that's our sermon today. I'm going to talk about them one at a time. Vanity number one, don't spend too much time on pointless, meaningless activities in your life. Here are some of the statements from Ecclesiastes. I'll just give you a few. I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and indeed, everything. Now, he didn't mince words. He didn't say most things. He said, I've seen all the works done under the sun, and indeed, all is meaningless, pointless. It's just grasping for the wind. He listed some of his own accomplishments, so he's even referring to his accomplishments. I sought out to know, have wisdom, know more than anyone knew, be able to reconcile and rectify every problem. Some of you are problem solvers. I like to think I am, but sometimes in the middle of solving a problem, I create two more, especially if it's repairing something. When I repair things, I create two jobs in the process of trying to fix one thing that's broken, but that's all right. It keeps me busy for another few days, especially if I break something else. I've accomplished a few things in my life, nothing like the great King Solomon by any stretch of anybody's imagination. If the king could look at all of his accomplishments and say, I've come to this conclusion, it's just like grasping for the wind. No matter what you have today, it'll be gone tomorrow. No matter how much I amassed, I'm going to lay down and die, he said, and pass it on to somebody who doesn't appreciate it because they didn't work for it, they didn't earn it, they have no idea of what its worth and value is, because to me, its worth and value is that I culled it out, I sweated, I found it, I created it, and for what purpose? Because when I die, I don't even have control anymore, and they won't value it or appreciate it. He's not jaded. Oh, I know, I've said that before. Ecclesiastes is the writing of a jaded man. I take that back. It's the writing of an old man who lived long enough to realize all I really struggled to gain. And now I'm still going to face death just like everybody. He says in Ecclesiastes, I've learned this in life, everybody goes to the same end. He didn't mean heaven or hell. He meant a hole in the ground. Everybody dies alike. Rich and poor are going to just die and go away. And there's no greater loss in the world when a terribly rich man dies than there is when a poor man dies. Oh, they might get their name in a newspaper. You might see the death on TV. But tomorrow, what difference does it make that it was there? I know this is depressing, some of you who think your life really means something, and that every day you wake up, there's a specific thing God wants you to do that's going to change the world. I know, well, just hang on. Solomon continues, whatever my eyes desired, I didn't keep from my eyes. Everything was vanity and grasping for I got it. If I wanted it, I got it, and there was absolutely no profit in the long run to what I got. He who loves money, he said, he's never satisfied with it. You give him property, he amasses it, and then one day he says, I need more. Have you noticed that in our world today? A handful of multi-billionaires are so bored because they have all the money and wealth anybody could need You know, you and I think, oh, if I was to win $1.5 billion, I'd probably buy me a new car. That's as far as my thinking goes. I'd get me at least a 2-year-old car instead of a 10-year-old car if I won that $1 billion lottery. Yes, sir. I'd be right down at the car lot tomorrow. When you got billions of dollars, you want to just rule the world. You're richer than many nations are worth. Your personal money accumulates to more than many of the small countries in the world. You're a world unto yourself. What do when you get there? Well, you try to figure out how to control the world and how to rule the world and how to manipulate people and how to buy politicians and buy. I mean, really and truly, that's what's happening in our world. And to what end? And nothing. Nothing, basically. Any one of those fabulously rich people that you'll see in the news now and then could die tomorrow. And would you care the day after? No. Would anybody? No. Not really. They're just another marker on the planet Earth. And that's what the king and all his wealth had come to realize. Sucking wind up there in the upstairs apartment in the palace and realizing his days were numbered. And all that he had gained and amassed would not make him live one extra day beyond his allotted time. You can't buy good health. You can't buy good relationships. You can't buy good friendships because money has nothing to do with those. And you can't buy a good relationship with God.